We won't take the time to go through every little detail of NACHA compliance. But what are the biggies, and what's the trend for NACHA compliance?
Sure. So the big thing that I want to make sure that our audience today is familiar with, and so that they don't get surprised. The big thing that employers can do is make sure you have contracts with the people who are moving money on your behalf. Those contracts have special provisions that are required directly in the NACHA operating rules. So there's specific language that is going to be in those agreements, usually called an origination agreement. But then also, you're either part of that agreement or a separate agreement. It's going to be an ACH authorization form, and this is what allows your payroll vendor or anyone moving money on your behalf to go in and debit your account. Now, the NACHA operating rules have been updated periodically, and they continue to be. So as an employer, you need to be aware that these rules are changing, and that if your payroll company reaches out to you and says, hey, we had to update our form, or you closed your account and opened another one, we need you to sign a new ACH authorization form so that we have the authority to go in and pull the money. Make sure to act timely on those requests, because as a payroll company, we certainly don't want to have any payments that are lagging or not made as quick as they could be.
That's right.
The new thing that is kind of trending right now in ACH compliance is a concept called nesting. And what that actually means, if you think of the example of those little bitty Russian doll toys that they used to have, where you take the doll apart and inside there's another doll, and then so on and so forth. That concept, that analogy, has been operationalized, called nested third-party senders. Third-party senders is a fancy term for intermediary. That you have the bank on one side, you have the employer on the other, but the employer has hired a company like Asure to do their payroll, to move that money. So Asure is called a third-party sender. We get directions from the employer that we then forward on to the banks that we have partnerships with, contracts with, and we stand in the middle. So if, and this doesn't happen, but if a company like Asure was to hire, say, another company to act on our behalf that doesn't have a contract with the financial institution, with the bank, then that additional middleman would be called a nested third-party sender. This actually matters, where the rubber meets the road, because it's a whole lot of work for the banks. And most of the bigger banks are saying, we don't want to play that game. We're not going to have nested third-party sender relationships. So what is happening in the industry right now is that a lot of contracts are being reassigned, a lot of new ACH authorization agreements are being signed so that we can eliminate the middleman. So if your payroll company is contacting you saying, hey, we need you to sign this so that we have direct authorization, that's probably what they're doing, is they're trying to eliminate this nested third-party sender relationship so that things can keep rocking along. And of course, those are not requests that you want to ignore.